it's sad. It's sad because you know what? I married you, and I'm not gonna. Dude, you're done.
I'm done. I want to have a good weekend.
You burn that up when you try to put that phone in my face.
What phone in your face?
Oh, right there. Oh, your videotape.
Yeah, because you're being a and I'm gonna show you
So
tomorrow.
you didn't videotape all the you when you hit me and smacked
Hit
me?
you?
Yeah.
You fucking choked me 8 fucking times.
On February 3rd, 2020, the police chief of Eatonton, Georgia, received a phone call. Active duty police officer Seth Perot reported the shocking news that his wife had committed suicide. However, Sheriff Howard Sills' expression grew grimmer as he arrived at the scene. Even with over 20 years of investigative experience, he had never seen a suicide scene quite like this. Seth's house was located in an upscale neighborhood near Lake Oconee, where 44-year-old Amanda Perot was found dead in a second-floor bedroom. As the initial investigation began, discrepancies between Seth's statement and the crime scene raised more questions. The police began to suspect this wasn't a simple suicide. The incident shook the local community. A police officer's wife dead in their home. Did she really take her own life? Or did someone take it from her? And if so, why did she have to die? In the fall of 2011, Amanda and Seth first met on an online dating site. Amanda, recently divorced, was an artistically talented, creative, and outgoing woman. Seth, on the other hand, was battling cancer, unemployed, and living under his mother's care. Their relationship progressed quickly, and they moved in together after 6 months. Amanda devotedly nursed Seth back to health, while Seth's parents supported all their living expenses. On the surface, their relationship appeared perfect. On June 23, 2017, they held a small wedding ceremony. However, suspicions arose that the marriage had an ulterior motive: Seth's custody battle with his ex-wife over their daughter. Indeed, shortly after the marriage, Seth gained custody of his daughter, and soon after began working as a police officer at the Eatonton Police Department. Amanda's life changed dramatically after marriage. Under Seth's restrictions, she could no longer work, own a personal phone, or have her own car. All communications had to go through Seth's phone or their home phone, and her role was limited to doing housework in Seth's home. Her relationships with family and friends gradually became severed. She couldn't attend Christmas or family events, instead having to focus on preparing events and meals for Seth's family. Amanda's sisters watched these changes with concern, but found it difficult to offer direct help. An even more serious issue was Seth's dependence on alcohol and drugs. About a year after joining the police force, Seth had an accident falling down the stairs at home, after which he took sick leave and spent more time at home. The mixture of painkillers and alcohol increased his violent tendencies, and marital fights became routine. On the afternoon of February 3, 2020, Seth Perot called the police chief. He reported his wife's suicide, but oddly, hadn't contacted 911 or other emergency services. The police chief immediately contacted Sheriff Howard Sills, who headed to the scene with his investigation team. When they arrived, Seth was sitting on the front steps with his face in his hands, and he agreed to Sills' request to search inside. The state of Amanda's body in the second-floor bedroom baffled investigators. The body was lying on its back, legs neatly together, arms tight against the torso. Even more strange was the condition of the Smith & Wesson .380 pistol found at the scene. The gun was found under Amanda's left foot, with the magazine separated and found on her right side. Particularly suspicious was the live round found in the chamber. For an automatic pistol, having a round chambered after firing with the magazine separated was highly unusual. 20 miniature Fireball whiskey bottles were found empty on the bedroom floor, and a wet green towel was found on the closet floor. Investigators noted that Seth smelled of shampoo. Laura DeRessa, a medical examiner from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, GBI, ruled Amanda's death a suicide. The main evidence was the close-range gunshot wound and lack of defensive wounds. However, Sheriff Sills and his investigation team couldn't agree with this conclusion. Further investigation revealed more questions. No blood was found on Amanda's hands or long-sleeved shirt, and there were no gunshot residue marks. However, trace amounts of gunpowder residue were found on Seth's left hand. Seth's movements were the most suspicious. 20 minutes before the incident, Deputy Sheriff Terrell Avery came to deliver domestic violence documents, but Seth didn't answer the door. According to the front door video footage, Avery waited for 7 minutes and testified to hearing footsteps inside. Security camera footage also revealed Seth's false statements. He claimed he had been home all day, but he was actually recorded with Amanda at a liquor store 12 miles away before the incident. In the footage, Seth wore a Pink Floyd t-shirt and black athletic pants, but when investigators arrived, he had changed into shorts and a different t-shirt. His original clothes were found in the washing machine, though unwashed. As the investigation progressed, Amanda's tragic life came to light. Shocking videos were found on her phone showing Seth's violent behavior, with Amanda saying, "I couldn't record when you were hitting me and choking me." Text messages to family members contained more specific evidence of violence, including messages like, "Seth almost made me pass out from choking me," along with photos of bruised faces and split lips. Neighbor testimonies were even more shocking. One neighbor witnessed Seth grabbing Amanda by the hair and pushing her against the driveway, while another said the violence was so severe they sometimes waited in their yard, considering whether to call 911. Particularly disturbing was testimony that Amanda had twice told neighbors, "If I die, Seth did it." The most heartbreaking testimony came from Seth's 8-year-old daughter. In an interview with a child psychologist, she described in detail scenes of her father assaulting Amanda. However, when she appeared in court after glancing at her father several times, she seemed to become afraid and recanted, saying she couldn't remember. In November 2020, as COVID-19 court closures eased, a grand jury was finally convened. Prosecutors charged Seth with malicious murder and aggravated assault. They emphasized that Amanda had no reason to commit suicide and was instead a victim of long-term domestic violence. The prosecution's key evidence was compelling. They presented the unnatural position of the body, the unusual state of the gun, evidence that Seth had changed clothes and showered, and his false statements disproven by security camera footage. The videos and photos from Amanda's phone particularly shocked the jurors. Defense attorney Justin Kenny primarily relied on the medical examiner's suicide ruling. He pointed to Amanda's blood alcohol level being 3 times the legal limit and suggested she couldn't cope with her seemingly perfect life falling apart. The defense also presented expert testimony that experiments showed the magazine could naturally fall out after firing, addressing the gun's unusual state. However, Sheriff Sills countered that he had conducted several tests with the same gun and never observed such an occurrence. After a 2-month trial, a jury of 8 women and 4 men deliberated for 2.5 hours before unanimously finding Seth guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This was the story of Seth Perot, outwardly a dedicated police officer and family man, but behind closed doors, a man who controlled his household through power and violence.